You're listening to Dumb Talk Podcast.
Welcome to episode 9 of Dumb Talk Podcast. I am your host, Sandy.
And I'm your co-host, James.
Before we begin, just a reminder to make sure to check us out on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, and Stitcher.
We're soon to be on iHeartRadio. The gods, or the great gods in the podcast department of iHeartRadio are testing our patience, and we currently await our approval. However, we're also on the Blueberry and Spreaker podcast directories. You can search us via Dumb Talk Space Podcast. You can also search us that way on iTunes, and if you use all one word, Dumb Talk Podcast, you can find us that way on Google Play. We're also on YouTube. Currently, it's audio only because we are currently looking into video. However, we have not posted anything as of yet. Just make sure to subscribe and like us to increase our chances of being heard on your method of listening. If you'd like to support the show or contribute financially, you can visit our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/dumbtalkpodcast. So it looks like it's official, Sandy. The Oakland Raiders are no more. They are going to be moving in what it looks like to be, I believe it's 2019, to Las Vegas.
Oh, brother. That's all I can say. Oh, brother.
Yes, it was officially a 31-1 vote at the league meeting. I believe it was on Monday.
I believe so.
Yeah, so it was a great Monday. That was probably the greatest part of Monday, is that the Oakland Raiders are leaving California. They're getting the heck out of town after sucking it up for a numerous amount of decades. However, they did end on a high note. Last season they did really well, so who knows, maybe that good luck will go with them, and they'll actually be contenders in something. However, the only vote of no came from Miami Dolphins owner Stephen Ross. He was quoted as saying, "We need to make sure that we have explored every option to keep the franchise in its current city, and I don't feel like we have done that." So that's the reason why he voted no. However, everybody else was like, yeah, man, go to Vegas. Vegas, baby. I wonder if there's going to be a fight. You know, like all those people who fight on Black Friday for like a 32-inch television with Roku TV installed? I wonder if that's how every team's going to be so that they can go to Vegas.
Who knows? Maybe. I
would actually go to Vegas to watch the Seahawks and the Raiders play in the preseason.
I'm pretty sure it'd be a shorter drive.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
considering it's only a 3.5 hour
we'll
drive.
get into many reasons why this is either good or bad here in a moment. But did you see this happening like this quick?
No, actually, I didn't even think they were even going to move at all. I was really surprised.
I'm going to be honest. I'm not surprised just because. So you said you were surprised or you were not?
I was.
Oh, you were surprised. Well, here's where we disagree. I wasn't actually surprised. I mean, there was talk of them going to San Antonio, and there's actually a rumor that if Oakland doesn't want to have them, and I guess they like kick them out of the Coliseum or the Oakland, wherever they play at. I hear the conditions are really shitty. It's worse than a high school gymnasium locker room. So, if Oakland is to kick them out or settle whatever disputes, I actually hear that San Antonio is going to look into be the temporary home of the Raiders until they get their stadium in Vegas.
Wow, I wonder how many years it's going to take for the stadium to actually build.
Well, apparently I think it's 2 to 3 seasons.
I mean, I know a while back Farmers had that thought of building a stadium here in LA.
They probably still should. I mean, the Chargers and the Rams are going to suck it up for decades to come, so they might as well build it. Because let's be honest, LA, there's either Packers fans, Steelers fans, Raiders fans,
Cowboys
Chargers fans. Oh, Cowboys fans too. There's very few Seattle fans, and that's why I like California. Is if I lived in Seattle, I would just be a part of the crowd. But in California, I stand out. There's very few Seahawks fans.
Yeah. And there's a few of those other crappier fans, like, the Buccaneers. I've seen a guy wearing a sweater. I'm like, dude, are you serious?
I've seen somebody in a Ravens gear. And we'll bring them up in a minute.
Okay.
So you didn't see it happening, but I thought they moved rather quickly. There was talk of San Antonio. There was talk of them coming to LA. There was talk of them in Vegas. Then Vegas fell through. Now Vegas is back on the table, and it is official. They are going to Las Vegas.
And it's become the joke of the social media, or at least on my Facebook time newsfeed.
Well,
Considering I have a lot of Raider haters on my friends list on Facebook.
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody hates the Raiders.
Even I hate the Raiders.
And, you know.
It's kind of bumming that they're leaving California, but
I don't think it's a bummer. But, I mean, because they're in a crowded state. I mean, you have the 49ers. You had, well, I mean, let's break it down. You had the Rams come in this season, making 4 teams in California. The Chargers is now joining with the Rams in LA. You have the 49ers in Santa Clara, you know, upstate. So you have 3 teams. You had 4. Now you have 3. So now the state's less crowded. And that's another thing I see a lot of fans of is the 49ers. And they do a lot of crying. But I mean, let's just be honest. The 49ers suck. Well, the 49ers do suck, and they've sucked for a long time, and they're going to continue to suck because they have no direction.
It's just like the Rams.
The Rams have directions to no directions to directions to no directions. And that's just the Rams are going to suck, and the Chargers are even worse.
I know. Tell me about it. I mean, and that's just in California. We're not talking about other.
Oh yeah, we're not talking about other shitty teams.
You know, like for example, the Browns.
We'll bring up the Browns later too. What is so let's move on. Who's the next team to relocate, or do you think the NFL is going to say, okay, enough, pop down, work it out. If you can't, then we'll look at it under a serious.
I'm not sure. I mean, I cannot picture any of these other NFL teams even moving to another moving location.
I can think of a few.
Let's see, throw them out there.
Buffalo Bills. They do way better in Toronto. Make them the Toronto Sabres or you can make it the Toronto
Bills.
The Toronto Action. I mean, there's a lot of generic names to throw out there. I always wanted to call them the Toronto King Bees or whatnot, but I don't think there's a lot of bees in Toronto. Or I used to call them the Toronto SARS because they were like a disease to the state of New York, like SARS. And you know how Canada like started SARS, or that's where it first landed in North America. Another team that comes to mind as far as relocating. Oh, oh man, is there another team that could relocate? Well, the Rams already moved, so I'm not going to say the Rams anymore.
Unless when I get thrown back to St. Louis.
They should just throw them back to Cleveland.
I know, it seems like Cleveland is the curse of the NFL.
Currently.
Yeah.
In current day. But, you know, again, Buffalo, for me, if any team's going to move, they're the next one to move, and I think they're going to go to Toronto. But here's the thing. Why are teams having to move?
It doesn't make any difference.
Relocation, I get it. It's a part of life. Like we relocate. Like I relocated from Virginia to California. And that's been a pretty smooth transition. It's been bumpy, but it's smooth on... Maybe
with the hope that there's improvements in these teams, which, like, I didn't see anything at all last year with the Rams. Like... It has me rolling my eyes like...
Well, they had the same coach. Like, they just changed cities. Exactly. They had the same exact staff. And...
So it's like, that's what I mean. It's like, if you're doing a change, you're hoping for the better. But...
Well, again, but I mean, think about it. If, you know, tomorrow the New England Patriots got kicked out of, like, Boston and they went to, like, Natick, Massachusetts, then... Are you going to really fire Bill Belichick and throw Tom Brady out? No, because players take pay cuts to play with Tom Brady. Okay, they could relocate to the seventh circle of hell, and people would be like, "Oh yeah, on board. I'll take a pay cut."
Sorry to interrupt you with speaking of New England. Have you seen lately? I don't know if it's rumors or true that they were interested in trading Richard Sherman.
I did see that. I think the New England Patriots actually called and said, "Are you guys being really serious?" And I think they said, if you know what you're offering is worth it to us, then the offer is serious. I think Sherman laughed it off, and then now there's rumors saying that he's taken the trade rumors very seriously. And I mean, I like the guy. I think he's a good player. I don't know where he would go that he would still be the star. There's not really... I mean, there's talented defenses, don't get me wrong. But as far as the overall group in Seattle, they have something really special there. Now, they've lost key pieces like Bruce Irvin. He went to he went to the Raiders, who are now the Las Vegas Raiders. Or will be beginning the 2019 season. I think they're still Oakland. But I'm not like too concerned. I mean, if he went to Arizona, so say he went to the Cardinals.
So what are you going to do with your jersey?
I would still keep it. I mean, I would get a new one, but I would still keep it. I mean, he could go to any team and he doesn't have the same group support that he has. He could go to the Carolina Panthers and he still couldn't help that defense and that offense win a Super Bowl. He's a great player, but he's great because he has great pieces around him in Seattle. And I don't know that he would find that anywhere else. Right. He would practically be the piece that everybody would build around, but he wouldn't have that. So I just don't think there's a team that's going to... I mean, unless they're like, hey, you know what? We'll give you Tom Brady for Richard Sherman.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
Exactly.
But that's exactly what would have to happen.
Yeah, I mean, for the Patriots to trade Tom Brady, I don't think so.
They'll never trade Tom Brady. He'll retire a Patriot. They'll be like, yeah, the trade deadline's coming up. We're thinking about trading. He's like, no, we'll announce my retirement. Okay, Tom. We'll let you retire a Patriot.
I mean, I know his wife wants him to retire. I don't blame her. I mean, she's a hot Victoria's Secret model.
Well, yeah, I mean, she has her money, yeah. And I mean, he obviously would still get endorsements and whatnot, but back to what we were talking about. Relocation is a thing in life, no matter where you go. My question is why is the NFL only committed to 32 teams? If it was so easy to put a team in Vegas and it was the Raiders of all teams, how come they just didn't expand and put a team in Vegas, put a team in Toronto, or put a team in Mexico City, or put a team in Portland, Oregon? Like, why is it so hard to add teams without taking away from an existing market?
That's true. I mean, how many? I mean, there's so many. Like, okay, California has currently 4 teams. New York has 3 teams.
Right, the Giants, the Jets, the Bills.
The Bills, okay. And then we have Texas that has 2.
Right, they have Dallas and Houston.
Right.
Both of which who are average and subpar.
And then we have, in Florida, we have Miami and Jacksonville.
You have Miami, Jacksonville, Tampa Bay.
Oh, yeah, and Tampa Bay. That's right. So there's 3 right
there.
Yeah,
New York, Florida, and California all have 3 teams.
Yeah. I mean...
That's why I was kind of rooting for San Antonio because they have the same colors as the San Antonio Spurs. It's kind of like, just make it a package deal already.
I know, right? Black and silver, baby.
Black and silver, baby.
that's what they're rooting for when they're playing. Yep, black and silver.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's black and gold.
Where would you add a team at? If the NFL came to you and said, you can add 2 teams, or I'm sorry, you'd have to add 4 teams actually. And they would have to do some like redistricting. Like there may be different divisions, et cetera, et cetera. But where would you...
Probably in the middle of the country, like... I mean, because...
Like where at? What state?
Let me see. I'm trying to think. Let me see.
Because they have one in Kansas City, which is
right,
kind of dead center.
Exactly. And then Texas in the South Center. Probably maybe in the northern center of the country. I'm trying to think.
Well, they have Minnesota.
Maybe another team in that area. I mean,
would you put like... Maybe
another team in Minnesota. I mean...
What about like Bismarck, North Dakota? Or
that's what I was thinking.
One of the
Dakotas.
What about Nebraska? I could get used to the annual skins versus skins.
And I'm thinking, like, all these states that don't have any teams, what teams do they represent?
You know what? Buffalo should move to Montana. The Montana Bills.
Oh.
They don't even have to... They just have to change into some ugly colors. Because right now they're red, white, and blue.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, yeah, like in the northern center part of the country would be, that there's like, it seems like it's vacant without any NFL teams. I mean, because we have, you have the East Coast. We have like Florida all the way to Boston. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's where it seems like that's where the majority of the NFL teams are.
If I had to add 4 teams, very easy for me. A team in Virginia. Let's see. I would put them near the beach. So maybe...
In Richmond? Is it?
The Virginia Beach Tide. I would go... That would probably be my number 1. My number 2 would be... let's see. Number 2. Alabama. Give me a second to think of a name.
Oh, okay.
The Alabama snakeskin. No. Cottonmouth.
Cottonmouth?
Yeah. I think they have cottonmouths in there. I know they have like rattlesnakes and copperheads. I would put a team. They already put a team in Nevada, so I can't do that. Put a team in Mexico City. The Mexico City Desperados. Then I'd put a team in Toronto. Not move the Bills, but put a team in Toronto. They would be... the Toronto Wasps. And I don't know why I'm calling them the Wasps.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
Maybe they don't have... So, yeah, that would be my 4 teams. And we already went ahead and talked about Miami Dolphins owner. So, with that being said, let me ask you this. A lot of people in Oakland, actually Golden State Warriors player Draymond Green, he goes, oh, if I was a fan of the Raiders and I lived in Oakland, I wouldn't even show up to all their games. I wouldn't show up to any of their games. I wouldn't watch them on TV or nothing. So do you think that's the perfect response since the Raiders organization has given up on the city of Oakland, does intend to move? Like, to you, is that the perfect response? Like, do you associate more with that side of the argument, or do you think that there's, like, what's your response to, like, fans not wanting to attend games who are burning jerseys, who are practically rioting, and who are upset that the Raiders are leaving? Like, what's your response to them?
Well, I would think those people are stupid, because if you're a fan of a team, you're a fan of a team, whether they are in Oakland, They're in Las Vegas. They're in San Antonio. They're in Toronto.
So you're questioning their fanhood. Cool. I don't disagree with you. What I would actually argue, let me just bring up my research here. There are many organizations that have relocated. And this may piss off a lot of Los Angeles-based Raider fans. But if you're not going to be a fan of the Raiders because they're leaving California, they're going to Vegas, you know, they're leaving their team, they're not tried and true, or they're wrong, blah blah blah. First of all, if I said, "Hey Sandy, let's take a family vacation." If I said you have two choices, we can go to Oakland or we can go to Vegas, what are you going to choose?
Vegas.
Right. Nobody, and I mean nobody and their grandma says, "Hey, let's go down to Oakland." I mean, like, unless you live like outside that city, then yeah, feel free, go to Oakland. But if you're taking a vacation, I've not once met somebody from like Knoxville, Tennessee who's like, "Yeah, we're going to Oakland." There's nothing there.
Right. It's
the athletics are, well, to me, baseball in general is boring unless you're actually at the game. I can't watch baseball on TV.
No. Speaking of which, we should probably go to a Dodgers game.
If they're playing the Mariners. If they're not playing the Mariners, I'll root for the Dodgers if we go. One day.
Anyways, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah, no, you know, no one's going to Oakland. Not ever. I don't even think the people in Oakland want to go to Oakland. Could be completely wrong on that. Oakland could be a great city. Never been. Don't have any desire to go.
I mean, if like I said, if you're a true fan, you're going to support your team, whether they're even
no matter
in China.
No matter what.
I mean, I don't know why fans getting pissed off. You know, it's.
Number one, it's part of sports. And there's people out there who will be like, "No, that's not part of sports." Okay, well then explain why the Seattle Supersonics don't exist. They relocated to Oklahoma City and are now one of the favorite teams. They're not the favorite, and they're not even in the top. They're probably down towards the bottom these days. The Oklahoma City Thunder, they're one of the top teams in the Western Conference of the NBA. I'll give you another great example. You just mentioned your precious Dodgers. To these people in LA who are uneducated or who don't know, the Dodgers came from Brooklyn.
Exactly. Any Dodger fan would, if you're a true fan, you know your history of sports. Let me being a woman, I know that.
Yeah. Let me throw out another one to all these precious Los Angeles-based people who are upset with the Raiders moving. Your precious Lakers. You know, "Oh, Kobe, Black Mamba, go Lakers, go, purple and gold." You know, your precious Lakers started out in Minneapolis. That's how they got their name, the Lakers. Seriously, where's a lake in LA? Where? Lake Eleanor? Lake Pyramid? That's not even in LA. That's over in Castaic and down towards Los Angeles. Okay? Now let me throw you a bone here. We always pick on the Cleveland Browns because they're a bunch of losers. The winning people of the Cleveland Browns franchise, you know what they did? They took a bus to Baltimore and became the Ravens. Okay, so there's 4 great examples. If you want another one, Houston Oilers. They were the Tennessee Oilers. Now they're the Tennessee Titans. Relocation happens all the time.
I think
I just think they're overreacting.
I just think a lot of these Raider fans, I don't think they understand. I mean, when they were in LA, I mean, did they get upset? Like they, you know what I mean? Because they started out they were in LA, then they went to Oakland. But they first started, didn't they originally start in Oakland?
You know what? That's a good question. Let me see.
I know that this is not the first time, if I'm not mistaken, that they've moved.
Let me look up their history right fast. You can move, just don't hit the table. The Oakland Raiders, they were originally in the AFL, which is the American Football League, which was the competition of the NFL back in the 50s, 60s, that period. Let me see. I believe they they started in Oakland, and I believe it was 82. They started in Los Angeles. Then they went back to Oakland.
Okay, so then what's the big deal? What's the big commotion? Why are people getting upset then? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't really, get it. But let me just throw another statistic out here. Last year, according to ESPN.com's attendance, the NFL attendance for 2016, they ranked the teams from 1 to 32. Tell me where you think the Raiders placed on that.
Beats me.
Just pick a number.
God, I blinked out right now. I'll say what? Top 10?
With a total, get this, because I know this number is going to shock you, because all the millions of Raider fans that you know. For overall attendance, both home games and away games, the Raiders had a total of 932,699 total fans attend their games.
Wow.
Not even a million. And by the way, the ranking, you know how no one's going to go to their games, yada, yada, yada. The ranking, 32nd.
Wow, really?
Dead last.
Wow.
Nobody was going to their games anyway in that shitty stadium.
So then why are they bitching?
Exactly. You didn't have the money to go, you didn't have the time to go, you didn't take the time to go if you had the time and you had the money. Now they're leaving you. Why are you upset?
Nope. Fucking kidding. It's like,
I mean, that's like being upset that, it's like you have a girlfriend, you don't have money. Now you have money, but you don't have time. Now you have money and time, and you ignore her, and then you get mad when she gets all her things and walks out the door. What sense does that make? It makes no fucking sense whatsoever.
Yeah, fuck.
So if I'm a Raiders fan, like a true diehard Raiders fan, all these people on the bandwagon, I'll be telling them, get the fuck off, motherfucker. Go ahead. Get off the bandwagon.
So that just proves that there's not that much true Raider fans.
Well, no, what that proves is that no matter how much you suck, you have bandwagon fans.
Yeah.
I mean, I now look for people that me and you personally know to move away from one team to come back to be Raiders fans because they're in Vegas or whatnot. Or because the team's moving to Vegas. Again, if the Seahawks were there or the Steelers were there and I had time, money, time off of work, I would totally go.
You, I'd be there in every single game.
I wouldn't even gamble. I would just be like, no, I'm just going to stay at the hotel next to the stadium.
Speaking of which, are there schedules already yet for the new season?
I think the schedule's been out. We can check that out after the show.
We can.
But, just to kind of close, you don't have to tell me that you have to cough because no one wants to hear you cough and me not talk.
No, I know, but so you can be able to cut it out. Anyways.
Oh, well, thank you.
Proceed.
So just to close out, my opinion is Raiders fans are stupid if they're leaving the team because they're moving to Vegas. Vegas, baby. Al Davis said, win, baby, win. Now we're going to Vegas, now the Raiders fans are going to Vegas. It's just mind-blowing to me.
I think I personally don't give a shit. I mean, maybe they could have stayed in Oakland, but they're moving to Vegas. Well, there's nothing we could do. What's done is done.
Yeah.
People are gonna get pissed and cry about it. Well, it's like you said. That's it's sports.
Yeah. You know what's actually shocking to me right here is that your team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, according to ESPN's research or their data collection, Pittsburgh is number 24 on the list of overall attendance with a little over 1 million total.
Wow.
They had more people attend their road games than their home games.
Wow. So
But the same can be said for Oakland. The top team, I'll let you take a guess.
Cowboys?
Yes, you got it. Followed by the Giants and the Washington, D.C. football team. So the NFC East, probably 3 of the worst to subpar teams. Well, not worst, but average teams.
Where are those New England fans at?
They are number 18.
Wow.
They had almost 1.1 million. And again, more people watched them on the road and went to the road games than they did the home games. Seattle, same with them. They're number 16 on the list. Let me see. Los Angeles. The Los Angeles Rams were number 7.
Good God.
And, oh my gosh, really? How did this work out? How did they only have 1 home game last year?
Who?
This has to be wrong. This needs to be edited. They say the Los Angeles Rams, out of the 9-game, everybody else had a 16-game season. The Rams only had a 9-game season.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there has to be a mistake there.
I was going to say, dang.
Let me tell you, if the Steelers
however, with that statistic, they only had 607,000 people. But you want to know, here's the funny part. The Los Angeles Chargers, well, formerly San Diego Chargers, they were number 31 on the list.
Ooh.
So this just kind of proves that, like, if you're leaving your hometown of, like, whatever years, the fans are going to hate you. So you're not showing up to games because they're leaving or they're thinking about leaving.
And they're not doing it to begin with.
Exactly. Like, what? How much sense does that make?
No sense.
It's like, because I'm not getting the cereal I wanted, I'm not shopping at the grocery store anymore.
Oh my God. Well, cry me a river.
You know? Like, it's just a dumb perspective, and really, well, it's not like I expect more of them. Some of these fans are like, not diehard Raider fans, but they're diehard dumbasses. And I can't, like, they're just a bunch of ass clowns, and I can't, like, really excuse the fact that that is exactly what they are.
Yeah, they need to get their heads out of their asses and,
They're ass hats.
Yeah, they just gotta stick with reality. Jesus.
Yeah.
However, though, if the Steelers do come to LA and play and face either the Rams or the Chargers, I'm going. With or without you, I'm going.
I was going to say, I don't have a problem watching a Steelers game here locally. I don't know. Because it's very tempting. Because I wonder if Jack in Box is going to bring back the special. You know, if they score 2 touchdowns in a game, you get a free burger.
I'm pretty sure that's why they did it. They had no faith that the Rams were going to score a touchdown.
Well, I don't have any faith that the Rams were going to score a touchdown in St. Louis either, but they did. I'd probably put more hopes in the Cleveland Browns scoring 2 touchdowns in a game than I would
I know.
the Rams or not the Chargers. The Chargers have some good weaponry. All right, so I think that covers this topic for today, and I had so much fun discussing it.
I know. Hopefully we get to see Beauty and the Beast this weekend. That should be our next.
Is that for sure going to be our next podcast?
Well, let's just make sure we get to see it this weekend. But
why would we not?
In case we were not to go or whatever. But
well, no, I mean, if we're going to go to the movies, we're going to go to the movies to see that movie.
And it's just going to be a date between me and you.
Oh, because it's all about love and romance or whatnot.
Yeah.
That, and I don't think our son would be interested.
No. I mean, how excited he was over Power Rangers. He wants to go see it again.
You know what? I'm going to sneak halfway through Beauty and the Beast to go watch Power Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, if it sucks, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, we can go on Sunday. We can go to a matinee.
Yeah, we can. All right, so it looks like we've planned a matinee showing on Sunday to go see Beauty and the Beast. We'll give you our thoughts, reviews, rants, diatribes, whatever. But that's been episode 9 of Dumb Talk Podcast. I'd like to thank you for listening. Again, you know, go on the iTunes, subscribe, rate, download. You can listen to us on YouTube if you don't know how to search and find podcasts on your phone. And if for whatever reason you like what you hear, which why wouldn't you, then you can contribute to the show by going to patreon.com/Dumb Talk Podcast.
However, if you want to give us some ideas of what you guys want us to talk about, follow us on Facebook
and Twitter, and leave comments on the YouTube videos or the YouTube audio.
We would really like to hear, or we would really like for you to let us know.
Yeah, one of our users suggested we use microphones. I think he was being sarcastic. I was like, dude, we are using microphones. How else could you hear us if we weren't?
But, you know,
yeah.
we would love to hear suggestions and ideas for us to talk about.
Yes, so with that, that's going to close the show. Thank you for listening. Adios, peace, and stay dumb.